Young people caught having sex in public.
Nonce.
I no longer want to kill myself.
Always remember to close the blinds.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. You're doing amazing. Amazing.
Soup.
City girls make a wish like Ray J. Let me talk to her.
I had a guy question his sexuality in the middle of it. Like he really got up, looked at me in the eyes, and said, "You know what? I think I might be gay." And I was just laying there like, "Oh. Okay." I'm like, how do you respond to that? And then he's like, "Don't get me wrong, I'll finish the job." And I was like, it was an awkward time after that. We're still friends though.
Abua has been opening my mail lately, and I just recently ordered some S's toys.
Antes tú no querías, ahora yo no quiero. Antes tú me pichabas, ahora yo picheo. Antes tú no querías, ahora yo no quiero. No, tranqui, yo perreo sola. Yo perreo sola, perreo sola.
Oh, look at that girl over there. I bet she has a huge vagina, let me tell you right now.
A huge vagina?
Yeah, I bet it's massive. She can shove it inside me any day of the week. Oh.
Do you actually know what a vagina is, Milo?
Well, yeah. I mean, a vagina is just the same thing as a penis. They just have different names, don't they?
Well, no. A vagina is very different to a penis.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gay then.
I'm gonna share with you the worst sex experience I've ever had. Mom and Dad, if you're watching this, I would stop while you're ahead. So it was me and my girl, ex-girl, I'm very single. We had nowhere to do the dirty, but I had the good old shaggin' wagon. So we pull into a spot that no one could find us, or so we thought. And boy, let me tell you, we were shagging in the wagon, okay? And a car pulls up behind us. In the middle of nowhere, a car pulls up right behind us. And they turn off their headlights. And they just sit there while me and my girl are butt naked in the back of my car. So I jump to the front seat, completely naked, right? And I go to turn on my car. And as soon as I turn on my car and turn on my headlights, they do the same. And then I speed away, and then they follow us for 5 minutes. 5 minutes!
Finish, I get up, I turn on the light, and she just says, "I'm so sorry." Points at the mission like, "Look, and I am covered in blood. I mean, my mouth, my chest, my belly, my crotch, my thighs, covered. So I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I understand sex is weird sometimes, things happen. So I'm just like, don't worry. Grab a tissue, start wiping myself down, wiping my mouth. And I just tell her, you have no idea how little I give a shit. And we end up dating for like 2 years.
Hi, and welcome to Horny Histories, and this is how they did it in World War One. In World War One, a significant amount of soldiers were having sex whilst on the front line, but the presence of wartime sex workers who helped to rally the troops had been mostly forgotten. Sex workers worked in brothels and were visited by troops serving on the front line in northern France. The British Army allowed soldiers to visit brothels while overseas as they didn't want to offend the Allies. Most men were virgin who wanted to experience having sex before they probably died in battle. Some soldiers paid more to visit sex workers who might infect them with an STI. An infection of gonorrhea or syphilis required a hospital stay of 30 days of treatment. To many, this was more attractive than going out and fighting. Historians have said that some soldiers in the trenches who had managed to hide their infection of gonorrhea would make money by transferring the pus with a matchstick from their urethra to another man who hoped to catch the infection, so he would be able to get leave while staying in the hospital for treatment.
How'd you like it?
Wow, Tony, you are so good. It was my first time, and I'm really glad I did it with you. You were so quick, but you hit it so hard.
Yeah, that's why it's important to use protection.
I'm glad you brought some. I didn't even know how to put it on. You're so much better at it than me.
No, you were good too. I mean, you really got your hips into it a couple of times.
I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, once you get started, it's hard to stop.
I know, I'm exhausted.
Your little sister's a freak.
Nah, she's a good girl. Just that dude getting into her head.
Just thinking if that was my little sister, I'd go crazy on him. Just rage would just come at him.
Yeah, man, you gotta hurt him. You gotta, ooh.
Yeah, man, you gotta let him know we ain't going for none of that.
Yeah. So y'all gonna help me jump him?
Man, that's your sister.
Siri, are you a man or a woman?
I sexually identify as Michael Jackson. My pronouns are...
So this is the story of the couple that shagged in an MRI machine for science. So in 1991, an anthropologist named Ida Sibelius was called up by our colleague Menko Victor van Andel. So this is the guy that invented the artificial cornea. Basically, he wanted her to have sex inside an MRI machine for science. He wanted to see what happened inside a woman as she was being penetrated. So before that, no one had ever used an MRI machine to look at females' internal sexual organs. So I'm just going to cover a little bit here. So this is the most famous early depiction of a man penetrating a woman, and it was drawn by Da Vinci in the late 1400s. But basically, it was depicted that the vagina was a straight tunnel that a man put his penis into, and it went straight in and out. And that had actually never been fact-checked until now. So Ida and her boyfriend Jupp jumped into the machine surrounded by 3 other male scientists. Originally, Jupp was going to get on top of her in a missionary position, but they decided to go ass to groin. While the two were in the machine, the other 3 scientists were in another room, and every few minutes they would tell them to stop, with instructions like, the erection is fully visible, including the root, hold that pose. So the whole thing took about 45 minutes when they told Jupp to finish up. And they were actually the only couple who did the experiment without having to use Viagra. They were withdrawn from the machine, naked and sweaty, like pulling buns out of an oven. So what they found, unlike Da Vinci's drawing, I don't know if I can show you this, when the penis was inserted, it actually changed into a boomerang shape in a 120-degree angle. They also discovered that there's an interesting effect on the female bladder. So vaginal sex can actually lead to the female's bladder filling rapidly. But scientists aren't really sure why. And Andel hypothesized though that it's evolution's way of forcing women to pee after sex, which stops urinary tract infections. So there you go.